Do you feel like perhaps your content is a little bit all over the place at the moment? You feel like you're showing up, you're creating, you're doing all the things you possibly can, but you're not seeing the results you really want. And let's face it, that's probably dollars in your account. You're probably wondering, is it because you're not trying hard enough? Well, many experts out there would lead you to believe this, but I don't think it's the case. We're all trying our very best. So instead, what if it's not about doing more or doing it better, but simply about seeing the purpose of your content through a different lens, one that suits you and the way you want to show up, rather than being purely transactional? So today I'll be covering that perspective, and it's what I call the client journey. It's the pathway your ideal client takes with you from the very first moment they discover you all the way to becoming a raving paying client. And over the next few episodes, we'll explore each stage of the client journey a little bit deeper so you can bring this journey to life in your own business. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 185 of the Powerful Content Podcast. I hope that you are doing well. Well, another week has ticked by, and I'm glad that you've chosen to listen in today as I'm touching on one of the most basic ideas when it comes to creating content and the purpose of your content, and thinking about flipping the way that we talk about it so that you, my beautiful heart-led entrepreneur, can create content in a way that feels right for you. Now, we're talking ditching transactional-based content marketing and replacing it with one built on relationships. So let's start off with why I really don't like sales funnels and the idea of transactions, and why I don't think it works well with our human-first approach to business. So sales funnels, they have a bit of a reputation, right? You either love them or you loathe them. And you've probably heard all of the advice about finding your ideal client's pain point and poking it over and over again. And I call this the festering wound approach. You keep poking that bruise until it becomes a wound. And sure, it might get your ideal client's attention, but it's really not a healthy foundation for a relationship. When we lead from this place, our clients become desperate, they're exhausted, and they're really in a lack mindset. And I don't know about you, but that's not how I want to start a relationship. To me, this approach feels off, totally off, just energetically and ethically as well. So instead of poking that wound, imagine if you started by painting a picture of what's possible. You talk about what's waiting for your ideal client on the other side of working with you. You end up creating hope and excitement and possibility. And that's really what the client journey is all about. It's a mindset shift that really changes how you create content and how people experience you, while making sure at the same time that your content is strategic and purposeful. So, what is the client journey? The client journey is simply a human-centered pathway your audience takes with you from not knowing anything about you all the way through to becoming that raving paying client. It's a way of allowing for like nuance, for emotion and individuality, your uniqueness in your content. You are walking beside them instead of shouting directions at them. You're guiding them, you're supporting them and encouraging them as they take the next right step for them. In my book, The Power of Content, I talk about how this really reminds me of my corporate days and the very distinctive types of leaders I work for. And you've probably seen this in your life as well. There were those who really focused purely on numbers and outcomes. And then there was those who built relationships, who trusted their teams and worked probably more collaboratively with them. So both of them got results. Both of those types of leaders got results. But one created loyalty and genuine connection, and the workplace and the individuals as a result thrived. The other, let's say, not so much. And the same is really true in business and with your content. So when you focus on genuine connection first, you will create loyalty, you will create trust and alignment. And when you focus on relationships instead of transactions, everything changes. Your energy, your focus, your confidence, and ultimately your results as well. So, what does this journey look like? Well, there are 5 stages to the client journey: connect, subscribe, nurture, convert, and onboard. And I'll be covering each of these stages separately in upcoming episodes. So, make sure you go and hit subscribe now. But for now, it's important to know that the stages really flow naturally, but are also interconnected. So, someone might move back and forth between them. Each stage is really an opportunity to deepen your relationship with your ideal client and not rush the sale. So let's just cover off each one quickly. But like I said, make sure you hit subscribe so you can hear in future episodes all about these different stages. The first one is connect. And this is where the awareness begins. Is that, I don't know, that first spark of connection when someone finds you through a piece of content. So a podcast episode, a blog, a post on social media, conversation you have with someone. And in this stage, you really want to focus on being relatable and real, not perfect. Like I always say, be more you. Your goal here isn't to sell to someone. We're not going to that hard sell, that transactional, that icky salesy focus. We're here to connect, human to human. And when it comes to your content, this would include using relatable stories, things like educational posts or core content, so your blog, podcast, or video that really align with the struggles and the desires of your ideal client, as well as showcasing you, who you are as a person. And the energy here is about being welcoming and generous and authentic, being the real you. Now, the second stage is subscribe. So once someone feels aligned with you and your approach to what you do, they'll naturally want to learn more. And this is where your lead magnets or your free offers, your resources come into play. And I want you to think of this as your way of saying, let's get to know each other a little better. And I've got something valuable for you in exchange. The key here is to make these free resources relevant and aligned. So your content includes lead magnets such as downloadables, quizzes, masterclasses, webinars that genuinely help. Now, podcasts and videos can be subscribable. Is that a word? I don't know. Subscribable. So people can subscribe to podcasts and videos, but getting them into your world through emails is a much better option. The energy that you have and that you bring to the subscribe phase is invitational. It's encouraging and most importantly, not pushy. And I know that you won't do that anyway. The third stage is nurture. And this is the beautiful middle ground where your relationship starts to deepen. You're not just giving information, you're showing that you care, you're showing that you can be consistent and understanding as well. And this is where your email sequences really come into play. So the content here involves your regular emails, your email sequences, things like stories behind the scenes, insights, personalized perspectives, more about you, and your energy that you bring to this is very supportive and consistent as well, because consistency builds trust. The fourth stage is convert. And this is where your ideal client says, yes, I want to work with you. But when you've built trust along the journey, that conversion point doesn't feel pushy or it doesn't feel forced. It feels like, like the natural next step. And Your content here focuses on reassurance, alignment, and excitement for what is to come. So the content here includes things like testimonials and case studies or calls to action that feel like an invitation, not a push. And the energy is confident and reassuring because they want to know that they've made the right decision to work with you. Now, the last stage is onboard, and this is where you make your new client's experience absolutely one to remember. It's what turns them into someone who would actively recommend you to anyone that they meet on the street. So, your content here includes things like added and unexpected bonuses, things like personal audits or reviews, and even explanatory videos. So, other content that they consume that helps them work with you. And the energy here for both of you is celebratory. It's a wonderful occasion that your client has chosen to work with you. So let's celebrate. So they're the 5 stages. Just again, connect, subscribe, nurture, convert, and onboard. And don't forget to hit subscribe. See what I did there? So you can learn more about using your content purposefully and strategically in each of those stages in the upcoming episodes of the podcast. So now you know what a client journey is. The next step is to actually map it out. And I want you to think of your client journey as a trail map. So you're walking beside your ideal client, but you need to guide them as well. You need to understand what's happening for them at each point along the way. And to do that, you need to look at 3 things at every stage. You need to understand, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? And what are they doing? And it's about employing one of your superpowers that I know that you have, empathy. And in doing this, you can view your ideal client as a whole person, not just an avatar. So let's just take an example here. At the connect stage, you, my beautiful ideal client and listener, might be thinking, I know I need to be more consistent with my content, but I have no idea where to start with that. You're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, and maybe a little bit defeated, and you're doing things like scrolling social media, signing up for free webinars, or trying random strategies that don't quite fit with who you are as a person. Is this you? Have I called you out? Oh, because I know these things about you, I can meet you where you are with content that really connects and supports you. So I talk about the mismatch of traditional content marketing with what heart-led entrepreneurs feel, just like I'm doing inside of this episode. I talk about how I want you to ditch those shoulds and do content your way. I share my own experiences with frustration and my values so you can see who I am, the real me. And then going to the next stage, the subscribe stage, you might be thinking, I'm starting to get some wins. I just need someone to help me stay consistent. I just need someone or something, a system to help me stay consistent. You're probably feeling a little bit hopeful that it's not about doing consistency a certain way, but really honoring your strengths, your time and your energy and resources, and you're doing things like looking at human design, astrology, or some other way of understanding your true self. And then hopefully you'll be subscribing to this podcast and perhaps finding a free resource that really resonates with you so that you can join my mailing list, which you should totally do, by the way, if you haven't already. I'll pop some free resources in the show notes for you. So mapping it out like this makes my content purposeful. It means every time I sit down to create a core piece of content, this podcast episode, I'm not just guessing what to create. I'm actually creating content that truly serves your journey with me. Because I believe that when you shift from viewing funnels as transactions to the process as a journey, your content ends up feeling a lot lighter. You don't feel like you have to fit into this certain system, a certain way of doing things. You begin to stop chasing the algorithms or numbers and really start focusing on people, which I know you do so well. And then this approach brings results. You become more on purpose. So your content has meaning, it has direction, and it's aligned with your message and your goals. The second thing is you don't need to create as much content because everything you create works harder and lasts longer. And the third thing is you become more inspired when it comes to creating content because you know exactly what to create and why it matters. And this is where content becomes powerful, not just because it gets people's attention, but because it creates real connection and real transformation for both you and your audience. And I know that's what you're here to do, to make that meaningful difference in the world. Okay, it's that time of the episode where you get to grab a notebook or take time out to reflect with these few questions. The first question is, how do I currently view the process of attracting and working with clients? Is it more of a funnel or a journey? Question number 2 is, where might I unknowingly be using a festering wound approach in my content because I've been told that that's the way I should be doing it? And how could I shift that to focus on possibilities instead? And the third one is, which stage of the client journey, connect, subscribe, nurture, convert, feels the most natural to me and which feels the hardest? So that brings us to the end of the episode. And if there is one thing I want you to take away today, it's this. Your client journey isn't just about a funnel, transactions, pushing your audience to a certain outcome. It's a relationship. And when you focus on connection over conversion with your content, everything changes. Believe you me, it does. In the next episode, we'll start with the connect stage. I'll show you how to create those first touch points with your audience in a way that feels totally, completely natural and aligned with who you are as a human being. And if you'd love more support with mapping your client journey and creating content that moves people, come and join us inside of the Content Effect. You'll find the framework, the templates, and the community to make it all so much easier. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @MELDBusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Hop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.